I'm going to do something you're not traditionally supposed to do. I'm going to shoot this pretty well backlit. It's raining outside, and that makes for an interesting change of pace for something to see out the window. And it's better to shoot inside looking out through a window than it is to go out in the rain. So it's Sunday. No, it's Saturday here in Phoenix. It's Sunday in Taiwan, and Chu-Wan was at the International School Fair yesterday. Timing is a little off, but basically she's just getting up from her day post conference, whatever you want to call it. And she, well, there's one thing that we didn't know, and frankly was giving me a lot of anxiety. And that is that I've been to a few job fairs over the years, and there's two different kinds of job fairs. There's the kind of job fair where they're looking to make people aware of their jobs, make people aware of their company, make people want to come in and apply at their company, and also to kind of gauge the pool that might be out there. And then there are the type job fairs where they are empowered to hire you on the spot. And I guess it's theoretically possible that any job fair is like that, but they do have a different characteristic sometimes that you can see a dichotomy between the two styles of job fair. And we didn't know which one this was. And there is a very anxiety-inducing aspect to the idea that at the very early stages of this is very early stages of seriously considering moving to Taiwan, when circumstances thrown a surprise into our face about her school closing, and then you find out literally on the same day that the annual International School Fair in Taiwan is being held in just a couple, 3 weeks. And so you go, well, what better way to get a lay of the land? What kind of jobs are available? What kind of schools are there? What are their strengths and weaknesses? It's like, so, we said, you got to do it. You got to do it. But we were hoping that it would not turn out to be the type fair where you go and they meet with you and interview with you and they go, here's a 2-year contract, sign it, we'll give you a job. And because it's not that we aren't serious about this, but it's like, don't buy things on a whim in a moment like that. And that's, okay, done. And then, she's stuck in a contract that she's agreed to. And not saying that it wouldn't be a good contract, but it does in fact mean that we have to close out here and move in just a few short months. And we might in fact still do that. It's a very real possibility, but we didn't want to have to make that decision on the spot after, jet lagged, after a full day of travel by herself. And it was, because in those situations, then you feel like if I don't sign this document, they will sign somebody else, and then this position will not be open. But if they are looking for a talent pool to draw upon that they want to get, that and it's what it turned out to be. Although she conducted several interviews and impressed them. And as I've said on this, she is an impressive educator. She has the qualifications, she has the chops, she can mark every tick down the checklist. And in fact, because they speak Mandarin, or there were times when she heard people talking about her when they were looking at the thing that they didn't necessarily immediately know she could hear them, or so, comments like, oh, we've got a real pro here, which is True. So yeah, I think, and there were schools because she had sent her CV. She said there was 100 or so people at the fair, and it looked like 20-ish schools from looking at their website. And she said there were people there who called her out and knew her, not because they knew her, but in other words, they had seen her CV in the pre-conference material when they get all the CVs, and they knew her, and they would catch her and like, oh, we'd like to talk to you. Um, and surprisingly, not all of those schools were in Taiwan. There was a school that really wanted her to consider going to Kazakhstan, which I find hilarious. It's like, and she said it, they were very nice people, and it was a very nice looking school and information that they had about it. But, she made it clear to them that she's looking for something in Taiwan, not Kazakhstan. And they understood. I think they understood. And more so than other, if you had somebody who was of American or European background and they're over in Taiwan looking for a job, these are probably people who are in the adventure phase of life. And, let's see the world and teach in strange, exotic places. And so you might hit them and they go, yeah, Kazakhstan, why not? And, I'm not tied to Taiwan, but Chu-Wan because of family and because history and because of the time in our lives. It's Taiwan or not. It would be very odd that some other country asked and we go, oh, all right, that's good enough. Japan, maybe. If there were Japanese schools there and they said, here's how much we'll pay you, and it was a number that would make sustainable sense, yeah, maybe. But because Japan's quite close to Taiwan, it'd be much easier to visit her parents, and there is potentially cooler stuff to do in Japan. So, again, not naming any schools, but she said a majority of the schools that were there did seem to be focusing on high school. Now, she is a qualified elementary teacher. There were some, it sounded like kind of growing experimental schools that were interested in talking with her. There was the school that she had been contacted beforehand by, and she had talked with them first, and that's an interesting school. There were three, in particular, three others that she feels they are likely to reach out to her. They're bilingual schools. That is, so the international schools are typically not bilingual schools. They are taught in English. But the bilingual schools is one where they do dual immersion in English and Mandarin, which she could do. And also, I think they're private schools. But yeah, so there were a few of those. I think she said most of the major American schools, international schools, were high school based. And could she do it? The reason she doesn't do high school here, well, there is a distinction between elementary and high school in your certifications. But not everybody who works in those schools is certified or certified in the area that they're certified in. And so, could she get a job teaching high school? Yes. In the United States, why she would not consider teaching high school is because all the students are taller than she is. And might not be. It would be true in Taiwan too now. They've gotten a lot taller over the years than when my first visit there. My first visit in Taiwan, I never saw a person that reached my armpits. I could stand anywhere and look over a sea of heads anywhere in any crowd. And if there was a head popping above the crowd, they were a foreigner. And that has changed very quickly in just the 27 years 27 years since I first visited. The whole generation of kids, taller and bigger, and but the population disbursement has changed. So my height isn't as impressive as it once was. My height is not as impressive as it once was here either. So that's just a thing. So I think that's good. Chu-Wan will be in Taiwan for a few more days. She flies back on Thanksgiving, which is great. Or her final leg of her flight is to come back into Phoenix on Thanksgiving Day, which, is that a terrible day to fly or is that a great day to fly? I don't know. Obviously, the days in advance of Thanksgiving, terrible days to fly. The days after Thanksgiving, terrible days to fly. But are people still flying on Thanksgiving? Do you want to get to your destination and catch the taxi and drive up to the door just as the turkey's being served? I don't know. So yeah, that's good. I'm pleased. I'm pleased that she wasn't put on the spot, and I'm also pleased that she's likely to hear from people. Now, I'm still 100% would prefer Taipei over Hsinchu or Taichung or Kaohsiung, and it's for my own comfort, for my own activities, to give me things to do, to give me the mobility that I really don't want to drive or ride scooters in Taiwan, and to give me a better shot at forming some form of social circle, because that's gonna be hard. That's hard at 61 as it is, and if anyone has reached an age, they know, typically speaking, you're making your friends early, and then they dwindle off as you get older. And this is why there's a lot of lonely old people out there, and some people deal with it better than others. My circle has gotten smaller and has gotten smaller during my retirement, because I don't, meet them at work, or I don't. So I know that. And you go to Taiwan, where my circle will be me going to university to try to learn Chinese around a bunch of 18 to 20-year-olds. I'm not going to be hanging out with them. It's not going to happen. And so I'm going to have to make an effort, and I'm not good at making an effort like that. So that is a concern, but it's something I'll need to do. And I stand a better chance in Taipei, I think. More people speak English, more foreigners. And yeah, that sounds terrible, but that's the likelihood, is that you find some compatible foreigners that you can hang out with and kind of do stuff you used to think of as normal. All right, that's plenty of babbling. It's still raining. I like the rain. I don't like the fact that I'm going to probably have to go pick up Mel's from work because it's raining. Mel's can use an umbrella in the city bus, but I suppose. All right, until next time.